Hello, my loves. How are you all? I hope you're having doing very well today. People on YouTube are asking what this is. This is from End of Evangelion, Comme Sucer Todd or Come Sweet Death. I have been watching a lot of Evangelion lately, because I have got a video coming up. Hello, everybody. I've got a video coming up that I'm working on. And one of the subjects is End of Evangelion. And the whole Evangelion series. I've just been going through it. So I kind of feel like I'm like rotating Shinji in my mind, just spinning him around really fast. Hi Silver, hey YouTube chat, hi 80, hi June, hi Rain. Rotating Shinji, you need to get in the robot, and then I need to rotate the robot really fast in my mind. I didn't post it yet, but I was thinking about posting something along the lines of, Pooly Pooly is what happens to cis people during puberty, but Evangelion is what happens when you're trans. Rotating Lilith in my mind. Wait, that's not Adam, it's Lilith. Aw, the old switcheroo. The fact the original series has 5 different endings that are all both canon and mutually exclusive? Yeah, I love that. I think that the fact that it's extremely esoteric and confusing is good. I think art should be weirder. Evangelion is like in the right vein. I think it's almost weird enough. It really was. I'd never seen it before, but it was really funny. Don't spoil it for me. I still haven't seen the last 2 rebuilds yet.
I wonder why my dad reached out to me after he abandoned me
Okay,
14
what is
years
going
ago.
on now? Oh no, we just immediately jumped into Evangelion in 5 minutes. I got it. We'll switch to another album. I hope everybody's having a good day today. You deserve a good day. There we go. That was confirmed like 20 years ago. Oh, well, sorry. Oh, don't spoil it for me. Don't spoil the 25-year-old show for me. Who is Tabris? Do I not know that character yet? Who is that? Am I stupid? Oh, it's his angel name. I knew him as Kaoru. Yeah, I've never heard Tabris. Oh, he isn't always Kaoru. Okay, well I haven't seen that then. I'm very excited. I enjoyed the first two rebuilds. I thought those were really fun. It was nice to kind of like, I really like Harrow's sections that kind of rhyme with the original series, but you can tell something is obviously wrong because things aren't happening the way that you expect them. I think that's cool. It's like it's like a dream, which totally makes sense. Confirmed alternate universes, yeah. Always a weird thing. First, we have to talk about parallel universes. I released a teaser for an upcoming video. I've been working on editing it down. I just want to do another couple of passes at it before I post it, and I just thought that the intro would be a fun thing to show off. So I did some editing on it. I hope you like it. Check it out on my YouTube, and I think I posted it on the TikTok channel as well. He would look like a white-haired Rey if he took a female body. Awesome. Good for him. Why the fuck do you look like me? Everybody is Shinji's mom. I love Evangelion. There is Shinji and Shinji's dad and Shinji's mom and Shinji's mom and Shinji's mom and Shinji's mom and Shinji's mom. Evangelion is objectively silly in like my favorite kind of way, but it's also really cool. Like, okay, well now I want to play Angel Attack. Angel Attack fucking rules. There's an entire volume of the manga from teenage getting to his perspective, and Yui is kind of a manipulative bitch. I mean, that kind of makes sense. Wait, we're gonna play Angel Attack real quick. Oh, she wanted to get stuck. Oh, she was planning on getting stuck in Eden. This plays in my head whenever I'm in a slightly stressful situation. I just want you to know that. This is my internal soundtrack for anything that's a little bit difficult. I think that if any show is fit to have baggage, it's probably Neon Genesis Evangelion, right? Gendo's a whack-ass son of a bitch. Motherfucker. Nobody can look that evil doing one thing with their hands and be a good person. Ava was running back for its time, yeah. It's the fact that I think that it played on TV, right? That people just saw it. It was just out there. And for the first while, it kind of masquerades as classical anime, doing classical anime things, but it doesn't really wear that it's horrific horror on its, like, psychological horror on its sleeve. Awesome. Yeah, Gendo wants to be in the robot. Put me in the robot, Shinji. Let me in, coach. Yeah, I'm interested to see how the relationship between Gendo and Shinji squares out. It seems like it was starting to be, like, moved towards a reparation, but that seems to have been derailed at the end of the second rebuild. So I'm excited to see 3.01. I didn't realize there were 4 rebuilds. The viewer count just says 1. If April the Doe has 1 hater, it's me. If April the Doe has no haters, I'm dead. Motherfuckers. Yeah, the Twitch view count is not always accurate, which is why I also do not try to look at it, because I feel like it isn't important. The most important thing is that I'm just here doing the thing that I like doing. I'm also recording, so like I can use it for content later. So I am just kind of using you for content. I hope you guys like that. Thank you for providing me free things to put onto my YouTube channel. You're all doing free labor for me. Get fucked, I guess. We're doing gay crimes in Warframe? Must it be a crime? What kind of homosexual festival are you throwing? Unit 3 was meant to be angel bait. 4 won't be completed in time for him to pilot a hit. And Unit 0 wants him dead so badly she will move on her own in an attempt to kill him. Yeah. Yeah. I love when... just trap the artificial soul in the horrific meat mech. We are heating up. I'm using my vaporizer. Alright, I have videos that I want to watch today. You'll be blowing up enemies called greeners, and they apparently hurt Larry. Well, I take him out. I'm here, I'm repping Larry. Yeah, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know about that stuff yet. I'm sorry. You're doing God's work. Amen. You're a soldier. Fighting the good fight. I have not seen the alternate universe high school comedy manga. No. I feel like these are things that I need to be linked to, probably. For the full experience, of course. It has begun to spiral into madness. This Evangelion video has begun to spiral into madness. My notes, I have so many pages of notes. I have like at least 16 pages just of notes. No hablo la lengua del diablo. Gendo being a house husband is very funny. Somehow Gendo and Lane's dad are the same brand of dad, and I don't really know how to say that without sounding insane. Or like Jing Freaks is also on there, just like crazy fucking guy who needs to subject their spawn to endless tests. He's a decent father in that setting. Yeah, I mean, like all things are relative, sure, but he is still he's a fucking freak. Gendo's not exactly an A+ 5-star dad. He only made his son feel useless. That's the only thing he did. He only isolated him socially. And then tortured him for robot fun. You're so right. You're so right. Okay. So, I have a few things I want to do. I have a few videos I want to watch today. And it's some more news. Put out a new video, kind of like fixing up all of wrapping up a bunch of recent news they hadn't gotten to because of other crazy stories they were working on. Essence of Thought put out a new video, and I would like to take a look at that because I really liked the last one that we watched. And I was sent a video that actually talks about my hometown and how it provided a blueprint for removal of sunken highways, which is very cool and something that I care about, so I thought that maybe would be a fun thing to watch. Hello, hello! Let us start with Essence of Thought's new video. Like a big person, wow, I'm so proud. Right, I can bring us here. That's probably better. Grocery stores do suck. So right now it's kind of hidden, unfortunately. But let me move this stuff real quick. This is Essence of Thought's new video on the Bayswater support group, which is something that I don't know very much about, so I am always appreciative of someone who is bringing us some news. I like information. Grocery stores are like overstimulation centers. The Autism Nightmare Nexus. Yes, I would love to be surrounded by a bunch of unfamiliar sights, sounds, smells, and loud things. I love that. That's my favorite thing. Forgot about the Princess Maker spin-off. Oh. That's incredible. Shinji is a girl. It's like literally, I think his design was sourced from a female character model they had from a different anime movie they were working on. Hello, June. How are you? Okay, whoa, no, I don't want to send feedback. That is a good thing that that's there. What's up? We're gonna watch Essence of Thoughts new video on Baywater Support Group. Remember again, Ethel puts all of her sources and quick references here in her description, as well as links to her Discord and her social media, and, you know, maybe consider becoming a member of her channel or becoming a patron. She is doing really good work, and if you come on my page and comment that she's somehow problematic, you're gonna have to come with receipts, because everything I've seen has been fucking stellar. Weird fucking people commenting. You're just gonna link it to me. Incredible. That's so great. Just alternate universe high school arc. Awesome. That goes in. That one goes in the box. How did that not get blocked? Because Rain is a VIP. Rain gets special rights and privileges because they're really awesome and they're around all the time. You're literally a mod. What do you want? What other special privilege? You're my girlfriend. What else can I do for? Is this you saying? Is this where you're saying you want me to propose? Is that what you want? BFPs have the same rank as mods, except they don't have channel commands. Ooh. I didn't know how it worked specifically. I should reorganize my mod list and my VIP list just to make it more who is around, because I think Bo is not a VIP, even though they absolutely should be. Alright, I've just been sitting and staring at this for long enough. How about we watch a video? Actually, let me turn off the music first. I am now, like, learning little tricks in my streaming to make my video editing easier later. I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like my workflow is starting to solidify. Things that I can do for myself later to mark, like, separation between sections. Pretty good.
I want it to be the case that if you search any of those websites, then the first thing that comes up is what they've done, what the people involved have done, what they make parents do. Every bloody trans kid in all of the UK has now been screwed over by Wes Streeting, who might literally have my mother's voice in his ear." End quote. These are the powerful words of a child who is not only a trans person, but a victim of both parental neglect and abuse, in part thanks to the horrific violence promoted and normalized by the Bayswater Support Group. A group, I must add, which has received explicit support from the current UK government, including so-called Health Secretary Wes Streeting. Yet they're far from alone, being only one of numerous trans people who have come forward about years of violence enacted upon them by their own parents and guardians, the very people entrusted with protecting them. Violence which, again, is fully enabled by the UK's government and its horrific culture of anti-trans cruelty. But before we delve...
I know that this stuff weighs super heavily on Ethel. I think that, she understands her importance in bringing stuff to her community and like her power and what she represents and how she brings news and information about stuff that really is important. But I imagine it must also weigh very heavily to always be bringing negative information like this out. And that is something that, that I think about too, right? I'm constantly talking about negative stuff because right now we have to. I want to be talking about more positive things, but I think that's why we got to try to keep it a little whimsical, a little silly. Which also, again, makes me recognize what strength it takes to continue to directly present something like without jokes. Like, I use jokes kind of like a pressure valve when things get a little too serious. But I really respect being able to just stare at the camera and, so to speak, and talk about something so serious. I think it takes a lot of strength to be a person who does that kind of thing over and over again, especially in the face of criticism. Because I cannot imagine they're not getting criticism from weirdos because they're just a big popular trans creator. The unfortunate truth is that puts a target on your back. So I think this is kind of what I was talking about the other day with we need to be careful how we criticize people and make sure that the things that they're being criticized for are actually like we've got all the facts right.
Any deeper, a quick content warning for the following: transmisia, child abuse, torture, medical violence, and sexual violence. If our work has helped you, please consider supporting us via Patreon so that we can keep the channel running. You can also help us by liking, commenting, and sharing our work on social media. Hi there, my name is Ethel Thurston, she, her, they, them, and we need to talk about the Bayswater Support Group, namely the abuses its members inflict upon trans children, and how a number of those children have come forward to speak out about said violence. We of course covered the Bayswater Support Group back in February, after video footage re-emerged of Wes Streeting throwing his full support behind the group.
I do love the little petty action of in your subtitles always putting support in quotes. That's ace. That's awesome. Fuck yeah. Go Ethel. Getting the digs in that you can while you're trying to be so like straight and serious, and I really respect that shit. That's when I say cutting journalism, I mean that shit. That's like still getting jabs in.
With him later going so far as to invite them to take part in the joke of a consultation on puberty blockers for trans youth. Said consultation took place after Sasha Baker and Valeria Roca published 2 groundbreaking articles in the Bureau of Investigative Journalism, bringing light to the facts that they'd infiltrated the Bayswater group and found evidence of extreme abuse and neglect. The example which stuck with me the most was when one parent, and I use that term in the broadest possible sense, denied their child access to a rape crisis center after they'd been sexually assaulted.
Holy shit.
Purely on grounds that said center was gender affirming.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Let me repeat that. The UK Health Secretary went out of his way to include a group that denied a child basic mental health support after they'd been sexually assaulted in a consultation about child well-being. A fact reported on and brought to his attention directly. Then, in April, Sasha and Valeria...
I love that that's like, that would be a damning thing to say about anybody. And now we're gonna have to get into the rest of the things that he's done, or that they've done. Incredible.
Published another article, this time in the Trans Safety Network, or TSN, delving deeper into certain aspects of said parental abuse, along with Streeting's continued support for it. The big one being the case mentioned in the title, namely how one parent asked whether they should put, quote, extra hot chili sauce, end quote, in their child's mascara so that whenever they did their eyes, it had caused their child excruciating pain. Whilst the TSN are unsure as to whether said parent followed through on such violence, they noted that not a single person in the Discord group challenged this or pointed out the severe pain it would cause the child, not even the admins. That's how normalized this form of violence was.
Holy shit.
As the article rightfully pointed out, this was nothing short of aversion therapy, i.e., the use of pain, fear, or disgust to forge a psychological connection between said emotion and an act which is perceived to be bad, with the intent of curing the person of said bad behavior. Yet, not only are said methods flat out pseudoscience, with them never having been shown to work on LGBT plus folk ever, it is outright abuse, specifically torture. And no, subjecting your child to pain does not magically become okay, even if they're lucky and it doesn't leave a mark. Just as purely psychological abuse can be torture, so is this. Repetitive torture is...
That's so absolutely true, and it's ridiculous that this kind of stuff is normalized at all in any communities, just because, I think it comes down to the issue that I feel like a lot of parents feel like their children are property. And that's just not the case. Especially, I don't know. I don't understand what makes people feel like you need to torture your children. I don't know. I feel like something's got to be broken deep inside you. Hey Sky, how you doing? How to YouTube chat?
is so destructive that it increases the proportion of trans youth who have attempted suicide within the past year from a baseline of 8% to a whopping 57%. There is no world in which said violence is acceptable at all in any form. And yet, in spite of both the Bureau of Investigative Journalism and the Trans Safety Network reaching out to Streeting and the Department for Health and Social Care, they refuse to take action. In fact, as I've mentioned repeatedly, and I will keep mentioning it until it's driven home,
and you should,
the UK government went out of its way to invite the Bayswater group to partake in a public consultation on trans child well-being after the initial reports were published. Wes Streeting and the DHSC fully condone this child abuse, and, in my mind, should face legal consequences in line with that, or, in the case that the legal system fails us, as it so often has recently, needs to be held to account by the public. Speaking of which, breaking update just as I was wrapping up this script. A group calling themselves Trans Bash Back smashed up Wes Streeting's constituency office in Ilford North whilst also painting Child Killer on the windows. The group has since come forward and issued a statement on their reasons behind the actions, citing the attacks on trans youth healthcare among other legal violence by Streeting and the Labour Party. I hope this is the start of a long line of actions by adults to hold said pompous genocidaire responsible for the deaths he is causing, and I'm considering doing a follow-up video exploring these statements in greater detail, if you'd like that.
I think I probably would want to see that. At least that's my opinion. I feel like it would be cool to... I feel like maybe it would be nice to focus on the positives of what these kids are actually saying and look at the things that they are compelled to say, unfortunately. But, you know, the stuff that they actually feel, because children, you know, even though they are minors, they have the ability to reason and to feel suffering and pain, and we should listen to them if they're hurting, right? So, I don't know, maybe focusing on that would be a good idea, and it would bring a more positive light, because there's a lot of joy, too, and, like, these kids deserve to have that part of their life shown as well, like, that things are still good, and that they have friends, and happy lives, and, you know, some of them have families that are supportive, and even if you don't have a family, the community is always incredible. I feel like community is often antithesis to fascism. You want, like, fascist ideals require a lack of community to propagate, because you can't, like, you have to make it so these people are individuals. They can't rely on their neighbors, and they in fact distrust their neighbors, so they will report on them to the state. If you want the surveillance state to work, then you need your people to be scared of each other, so they can't form communities, and that's why they work so hard to crush community building like this, and to not listen to community organization. I mean, look at how negative the view of unions is, because people have just swallowed propaganda. And unions are just a community of people doing collective bargaining within their job market or within their company. It's that fascist ideals require a lack of community to propagate, and so they educate people to fear community. Like, everyone's gonna try to stab you in the back, so you can't trust anybody, and you should stab them in the back first. And that's just not the way it needs to be.
So do drop me a comment down below if you'd like to hear more on that. Yeah, something missing from all the articles covering the Bayswater group thus far are the voices of the children themselves. This has been a major problem with regards to the UK government's ongoing genocide targeting trans youth, seen in how Streeting has outright refused to meet with the very trans children he stripped of essential life-saving healthcare, children such as those at Trans Kids Deserve Better.
Again, and she's awesome because she has a whole playlist already of her focusing on the exact viewpoint I was talking about. Because she's awesome and she knows exactly what to do.
And we have an entire playlist dedicated to said group and their various protests over the last year, so do check that out. But this brings us rather nicely to today's article, once again by the ever-vigilant Sasha Baker and Valeria Roca, titled, "My Parents Very Clearly Do Not Love Me, Children of Bayswater Speak Out," which was published on the TSN website. The article starts off much like this video, going over the previous articles whilst highlighting Streeting and the DHSC's absolute refusal to protect trans children.
Right, you gotta build that pattern.
It then goes on to present excerpts from interviews given by 4 of the group's victims, Charlotte, Maria, Liam, and Noah, not their real names, 2 of whom are minors, whilst the other 2 are young adults. Now, there's a lot in this article, so much that I won't be able to cover everything, so do give it a read once you're done here. As always, all references can be found in the video transcript.
Let me grab that real quick. Is this the one? I think this is probably... Yeah. Oh, wow, it is long, 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 long. Yeah, absolutely. We can go over this actually afterwards and get direct from the article.
I'll also include links to Sasha and Valeria's articles in the quick references for ease of access.
I appreciate you so
Starting
much,
with
Ethel.
Liam,
You're
who is
awesome.
currently a sixth form student, making him 16 to 18 years old. He was initially allowed to go to therapy when his parents believed it had sort him out, that is to say, detransition him, only to pull him from it the moment they realized he was receiving
Love a bitch who cites her
medical
sources.
support. As the article reads, quote, Liam began seeing a therapist through NHS Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services, CAMHS. He thinks that his parents only allowed him to access the service because they thought it would be conversion therapy, but in reality, his therapist
Except
was
spending the
supportive.
required money to get
Some
the car. Yeah,
basewater
I get
parents
it.
with experience of CAMHS advised
Oops,
other
it's
group
actually
members
capitalism.
to avoid them like the plague. Many discuss avoiding CAMHS entirely, seeking out private conversion therapists, or denying
So
their
many
children
problems.
any form of mental.
This is entirely... I'm sorry, I need to go back because I was not focused on the video. I was thinking about what you said. But yeah. I feel like so many problems that we have are just boiled down to, oops, it's capitalism, but we're not supposed to think about that, so we blame it on something else. And I feel like I've just kind of gotten to the point of, like, if everywhere that you go smells like shit, maybe the shit is on your shoe. I love that. I love that for you. I love it when I do an adult task and I feel like a grown-up. Oh my goodness. Agatha is back.
I'm back.
She's back.
I'm back. Brett.
Hello, honey. How are you?
Threatening.
Threatening?
Yeah, that's who I am.
Would you like a honk?
I'm gonna go take a signal here just a bit.
Would you like a celebratory welcome home honk? She's coming over. She's gonna have a honk.
We like
She just walked in the door.
literally just walked in.
I'm attacking her with my bong. Everybody says welcome home.
Welcome home, Agatha.
Welcome home, Agatha.
No one's watching your, and they'll know that I just went home because I wanted to. Well, hopefully, no one from work is.
I'm gonna say, I want people to watch my stream.
Yeah.
April, oh, Morgana is so cozied up on the pillow on the bed. That's so cute. I have to go see. One sec.
All right. Before I set this down.
Yeah, I gotta go run and look at Morgana.
Oh, am I gonna be?
You're in
am I gonna
charge.
be in charge? Okay, hold on.
You're gonna have to get used to it. You're in charge of stream next week.
Oh yeah, that's true. All right, hold on. Did she leave me the headphones? No, she didn't leave me anything. All right, stay. I don't know what we're doing. I want to take a sip off this big soda though. For free, yeah, for free. We want a story? Yeah, I can do a story. Hold on. Yes, in this economy, it's been requested that I do a story.
Free time.
Yeah, story time. I promise it's not gonna.
I'll sit in the little beanbag.
I promise it's not gonna be messed up. I won't break TOS.
Yeah. Here, actually, since we're off topic enough, we can do this.
Oh shit. So, once upon a time in another lifetime, I had wanted to be an English teacher for students in Japan. I need to like not be bent over. I wanted to be an English teacher for students in Japan. And I was going to get the degree that I needed for it, which Japan, like the Japanese education, the Ministry of Education didn't care what degree you had, just that you had a degree and that you had speaking skills, which have since atrophied. So, while I was in Japan, though, I went for a little bit to be with my then partner, and give the job a little test run. And this was in December of, I think, 2015, so about a decade ago at this point. I went there, and I spent my Christmas evening on a double date with my then partner and her friend and her friend's husband. Their anniversary was Christmas Eve, as a matter of fact. Yeah, we did end up having Kentucky Fried Christmas. Yeah, Kentucky Fried Chicken was a thing in Japan. It's actually really good. It's way better than what you get here in America. So we didn't go there for Christmas Eve though. My partner's friend Akiko, she had suggested going to this anniversary dinner, and her husband said, "Okay, I have a place." The place ended up being a little hole-in-the-wall bar, not much bigger than this space, honestly, called Yumikaido, or Dream Road, or Heaven Road, I think. It was weird. But yeah, Stairway to Heaven plays it. Anyways, so it was a wonderful dinner. We had this big bowl of this big hot pot dinner, which was just this fish broth, and the owner of the establishment, whose name I don't remember, he brought out this massive platter of different seafoods. You had fish, you had shrimp, you had, technically pork is not a seafood, but we still had pork. We had octopus. It was the only time I've ever eaten octopus. And it was absolutely delicious. And along with it, we had plum wine. I had two this size mug full of plum wine. And then
Princess, that's a fucking cool name.
that is a cool name. And then the guy who ran the establishment saw, at the time I was presenting as a man, I hadn't started transitioning, yada yada. So keep that in mind here. I was the only American guy to basically come into this guy's shop. And he came up to me and he asked me, "Hey, would you mind doing some American style shots for me?" And I said, "Well, I didn't know that they were American style, but sure, why not?"
Yeah, I didn't know there was a style.
I didn't know there was a style. And so
Style just means rink.
he must have been planning this for a bit, because his wife was like probably like 20 feet away at the other end of the bar, just sitting there and like covering her face and like just watching what was going on. And yeah, no, it was really cool. She had
Animal style alcoholism is crazy work.
she had the laugh of the like
Oh, Joseph!
she had that laugh. It was so funny. So he says, "Hey, I would love to have you do American style shots. All you'll have to do is give me the equivalent of $10, and you can have as much alcohol as you can consume. Thank you so much. And so I say, yeah, not realizing the storm that has just been presented to me, because this guy was not prepared to do American style shots. He pulls out a teacup, a regular ass teacup. Teacups are not small, big teacup. And he just starts filling it. If you don't know, I don't know if this is everywhere, but at least in this area, it's a custom in Japan that you don't really like pour your own drinks, especially at work functions. Instead, people pour your drinks for you. And so the idea, supposedly, is that when you become belligerent or a little too drunk, someone just stops pouring your drinks. And they don't have to, like, confront you about it. They can just let you sober up. Unless you're this guy who does not realize the power of 6 teacups of whiskey and vodka going down my gullet. And boy howdy, do I just each and every single one of them. So, within the course of probably 15-20 minutes, I have consumed at probably like a handle, the equivalent of a handle of vodka. It is animal style. The Japanese culture, the culture itself is an alcoholic. Like, there was some rampant alcoholism out there. I literally couldn't go to a person's house without being presented with beer, and everyone assumed that I wanted beer because at the time I was presenting as a man. So I was the man in the relationship.
I mean, if I got handed a beer, I feel like the first few times at least I'd be pretty happy.
I mean, the first few times, but like, I was trying to also speak Japanese. Speaking of which, after I had drank like the 6 teacup, he stopped pouring because I think he realized once I stopped speaking Japanese and started calling him exactly bartender-san the entire time, his wife was so fucking like lost and just laughing, cackling in the background, because that is what I called him for the rest of the night until...
We're clipping the mic a little.
Until...
You don't have to lean into it. It'll catch you really well.
Okay. Until I get to the end of the night where my partner and Akiko, a small Japanese woman and a small like Jewish New York City woman, fucking holding on to me, at the time 270-pound man. Yeah, bartender-san. I didn't say bartendo. I said bartender-san. Thank you so much, bartender-san. Stop. And so I get dragged out with a bucket that the bartender gave me, and I still need to return it.
You don't have the bucket?
I don't have the bucket. My partner at the time had the bucket. I gave it to her. I was like, when I return to Japan, I have to give it back to him. That's a Japanese story right there, where you go on a quest and then you have to return to the land, right? So... to be fair, I did Toho projectile all over the bathroom. I nearly drowned myself that night, because, like... What? I was so drunk. I, like, laid in their very tiny bathtub, not thinking that I would be able to do so. Had the tub filled with water, and then I was like, oh, this is so comfy, and decided that rolling over, face down into the bathtub water, was a really good idea. Thankfully, I'm still here. So... And that's it. There's nothing more to that story. That's the end of the story. I had a really drunken night in Anancho was the name of the town. Well, the town of Anan. So, all right, swap. I apparently clicked the mic, so I want to swap.
No, that's good. I was already like noticing I do that. My mic was just too sensitive. Animal style Agatha. More like Agatha style.
It wasn't Agatha at the time, so...
Yeah, I get that.
That was a whole ass one of lifetime.
The stream switched. It's me again. Hi, everybody.
It's like every time you log
I
into
got
the
the
stream, it's a new anime.
fun. Yeah, it's true.
Alright, hand me that.
Told my story with
Nananjo.
the signature soda drink at the end.
How was your day? Good?
That's fine. We're headed at work. But yeah. So I decided to give myself a little bit of time. I used to use an excuse.
Itadekimasu.
Yeah, it stands for animalistic Agatha. Thank you.
The animal is a capybara.
What the fuck is an E to Decimus?
Itadekimasu. Is it Itadekimasu?
What? Yeah, like what?
Dude is literally rolling. She's sitting in her chair, giggling and kicking her little feet. The compressor stops the Two high bitches coughing at each other.
I didn't even finish my hit yet. Tell me hi. You'd say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I used to use an excuse.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Was I sick?
that I had a present for anniversary.
I'm excited.
I don't. I have something else planned. That's why I asked if your Friday night was
Fine,
free.
I guess. It's clipping, the noise isolation is scrungling the laugh. Oh no.
Who is laugh? When?
It's
After.
after.
Yeah, get high after.
To relax.
Yeah. Like, mess up your throat, and then, like, if you smoke beforehand,
Yeah, you're gonna
you're
have.
gonna have a hard time at karaoke. Like, it just,
You're also gonna have dry mouth the whole time.
yeah, just go belt your heart out.
Still gonna have dry mouth though.
You're still gonna have dry mouth. Go belt your heart out, and then, like, maybe when you're gonna sing the last song, eat the edible. Mm-hmm.
That's okay. I
need to
don't.
rhyme where I have to speak different.
I
Like,
don't.
basically throat it when I speak.
I'm just doing it wrong, I guess.
I guess.
I don't know how to. My mic is making loud noises.
Play around with it.
Yeah. I'm just. I don't have, like. Again, it will be nice to be living with an audio engineer.
Yeah.
Not for nothing. Because then I can at least use the microphones that she gave me too.
Yeah.
I have the one that can actually mount up proper.
Do you want another microphone? I have a spare audio, like AT2020.
I mean, if you want to get, yeah, I'll take it if you're just giving me stuff. I like free things.
It's you can either use it for USB or XLR. Plus.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm gonna have to start packing soon.
Like this bowl.
Like this bowl. Whoa. That was crazy.
It's almost like I have good comedic timing.
Almost.
Almost.
It is almost like that.
It's like, you know how when you stage a robbery and then you get arrested because they think you did a robbery? Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Baudrillard movie.
What bowl? You drink big soda out of the bowl.
Yeah. It's a bowl of
It's
soda.
too big to go in a cup,
Yeah.
so it goes in the bowl. Obviously. You sound crazy. In the bowl, if you know, you know.
You were in the middle of something where I came in and fucked your name up.
Oh, I was?
Yeah, you were watching like a video.
Oh shit.
Yeah, pet her. She needs it. She deserves it.
I fixed it.
Whose hand is that?
Mine. I don't know. Somebody's. The internet.
The internet's hand.
In this specific case, I guess it was Vixenova because she was the one that paid for it.
That is cute.
Don't look at the gift that I have and just say whose hand is that. You make me think things. I don't know whose hand that is. I just googled it. I just googled it.
We're the little piece of sand that makes you think about life.
The piece of sand.
Yeah, like or like the pebble in your shoe.
Does that make you think about
reevaluate your
life?
Yeah,
Makes me reevaluate my shoe.
part of your life.
I guess. Is that the same thing?
I don't know.
I don't know. She looks me dead in the eyes. Says, I don't know.
I don't live your fucking life.
What's your favorite butt rock song? Oh god.
It's oh fuck. What's the Nickelback track that was on the first Raimi Spider-Man's DVD? It was like To Be a Hero or something, and it's just the lead singer of Nickelback doing that. Yeah, it's that.
Wait, I got this.
Yeah, it's gotta be online.
No. I'm not gonna do that one. I'm not gonna do that. I know that. I don't know the name. I have to Google the lyrics. Oh, it is. It's Breaking Benjamin. Fuck yeah, from Halo 2.
Only the strongest.
It's Blow Me Away.
Blow me away. Goodbye. Have a safe flight.
The Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. What are you talking about?
I like this has like exclamation point high quality.
How many years ago was this video
17.
15 fucking years?
This is almost like this
It's
video
almost
can
holding up the fucking boat.
this video can almost ring.
Dead.
Halo 3 is a legal adult. Awesome. Breaking Benjamin can have my fucking stream. You can have it then.
There's nothing left, so save your breath, lying in wait. Caught inside this cutting away. Your cover's blown, nowhere to go.
I'm like channeling me at roughly 15 years old right now. No, I don't know. Like it makes me want to play Xbox. Your lighter's on the fucking table over there. You can have this one. No, that's the guest lighter. You got the cool guy lighter. I gotta show it off. Let me show.
Come on, here you go!
Give it to me.
It's my favorite straw.
It's got the cool guy on it. It says... Everyone keeps calling you a pothead. You're just a chill guy that likes to smoke every day. It's the cool guy.
Of all the places to hear this song, I would not have expected the top 10 game of the...
That's awesome.
Also, if you've never seen any of that act, it's basically Sword Art Online, but better and like before it was made.
Yeah. Okay. I was at a furry convention. I was drunk out of my fucking mind. And I heard a song on the... Like, someone put just a song on that was, like, just sent me right back to middle school. And it was, I don't remember what it was called, but holy shit.
Anything that sounds similar to Evan.
Yeah.
There was an artist that came out recently, and I started listening to the album, and I was like, this just sounds like Evanescence from, like, the 2000s.
Yeah, I love that. It just, this shit stinks of, like, my middle and high school years. I love it. Breaking Benjamin. Back when Breaking Benjamin was the hardest shit I'd ever heard. Sheltered white kid life. I'm kind of an unironic butt rock enjoyer. I love that for you. Love the things that are cringe about yourself. That's so okay. I love that for you. Back when Diary of Jane was the greatest tragedy I'd ever experienced. Tragedy. I was watching an Ethel video.
You were.
Somehow we ended up here.
Well, I came in. And we
Oh,
were sitting
right.
here.
My wife is here.
Then one of your viewers asked for butt rock
But rock recommendations.
Like what stuck with you.
That's true. That's
And
how we're here now. We're in the weeds.
That's how we got there. And now we're back. We've appeared. We've crawled out of the weeds, and we're back.
I'm sorry, Ethel.
I'm not.
Hell yeah, do it. I think that Breaking Benjamin is definitely a good one to pick. I also like a lot of Disturbed is good.
Slipknot.
Slipknot.
Yeah, Slipknot.
Fuck yeah.
Before I Forget is probably up there.
I feel like some Papa Roach too could probably. It's kind of like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Papa Roach, Corn,
like
old Corn before they did the dubstep.
Scars by Papa Roach was your go-to. Fuck yeah. Papa Roach gives me like scumbag leftist vibes. Who knows? I literally know nothing about him.
Well, you can just say things on the internet.
I can just say whatever I want. I can just lie. Isn't it crazy how the president of the United States is just an obvious pedophile and everybody's just kind of okay with that? I'm not.
I'm not. So what's this video?
All right, yeah, let's watch this video.
What is the video?
The video is about, and I will bring back the vertical camera. There we go. It's an Essence of Thought video based on about the Bayswater support group. A lot of focus being placed on the abuse that was suffered at the hands of these trans kids that now their parents are advocating for further abuse of more kids.
Is this like
Conversion therapy thing, yeah.
Okay.
Papa Roach is the epitome of a douchebag liberal who only cares about being a Democrat for the economy and nothing else, but will dodge every question related to social issues. We cannot talk about Israel. If we talk about Israel, Thanksgiving will be ruined.
You talk about Israel. Hey, my daughter's
John Fetterman. Oh, that's a good one. I like that one. That was a good one. Bill Maher. Your racist uncle who doesn't know that he's racist.
Which one?
Which one? Oh. Now. She hates that I called out her joke. Yeah, Bill Maher is a fucking loser, unfortunately. It's just sad. I saw Big Joel's breakdown video on like Bill Maher's recent like woke mind virus stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the I don't know what essay specifically you're talking about, but it really seemed like Joel kind of was sad to see Maher go down that road because it seems like originally Maher was just kind of an asshole and that was his like shtick. And that was okay. Like that's a shtick a comedian can be. Just the asshole. Yeah. But I think it got twisted somewhere. We lost something. We lost something along the way.
We lost ourselves.
We lost ourselves. Does that mean we can get pizza? I kind of do. I haven't had pizza in a little while. That'd be kind of nice. I'd like to hang out and watch a movie or something and watch pizza. Eat pizza. That's what I meant. Don't worry about it.
You're just gonna watch the pizza?
I'm just gonna look at it.
Just let
I'm
it
gonna think
cool
about how
out.
tasty it would be the whole time. I'm gonna like do the thing where I'm like, ah, and it like floats into my mouth.
I'm just a Bill.
Watch pizza, eat movies.
I'm just a Bill. Sitting here on Capitol Hill.
There are two types of Bill. Why is pizza eating movies, and why do I have to watch?
You don't have it's a really strong recommendation for your mental health.
Alright. I'm gonna jump back into this video at the chapter head.
But this brings us rather nicely to today's article, once again by the ever vigilant Sasha Baker and Valeria Roca, titled, "My Parents Very Clearly Do Not Love Me, Children of Bayswater Speak Out," which was published on the TSN website. The article starts off much like this video, going over the previous articles whilst highlighting Streeting and the DHSC's absolute refusal to protect trans children. It then goes on to present excerpts from interviews given by 4 of the group's victims: Charlotte, Maria, Liam, and Noah, not their real names, 2 of whom are minors, whilst the other 2 are young adults. Now, there's a lot in this article, so much that I won't be able to cover everything, so do give it a read once you're done here. As always, all references can be found in the video transcript. I'll also include links to Sasha and Valeria's articles in the quick references for ease of access. Starting with Liam, who is currently a sixth form student, making him 16 to 18 years old. He was initially allowed to go to therapy when his parents believed it had sort him out, that is to say, detransition him, only to pull him from it the moment they realized he was receiving actual medical support. As the article reads, quote, Liam began seeing a therapist through NHS Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services, CAMHS. He thinks that his parents only allowed him to access the service because they thought it would be conversion therapy, but in reality, his therapist was supportive.
Jeez.
Some Bayswater parents with experience of CAMHS advise other group members to avoid them like the plague. Many discuss avoiding CAMHS entirely, seeking out private conversion therapists, or denying their children any form of mental health support. When Liam's parents realized the CMHS practitioner accepted his gender, they pulled him out of therapy. His mother also became increasingly paranoid that Liam's school was allowing him to transition behind her back, a common fear articulated on Bayswater's forum, and prevented him from leaving the house alone. Eventually, Liam's school and his GP made safeguarding referrals, but the safeguarding hub declined to open an investigation, concluding that rejecting Liam's gender was a matter of parental choice. Liam was also referred to a therapeutic art class, which his parents did not allow him to attend. It kept getting worse, he said. I feel if your average teenage boy was being forced to attend bra fittings as a punishment, that would be immediately identified as sexual abuse, and it would mean instant removal. But it was just parental choice for me. End quote. Liam is 100% correct. What his parents have done to him is sexual abuse, specifically of a minor. Sadly, this sort of thing is highly normalized when it's
fucking as a punishment. Just, let's further torture the kid. So I'm sure that'll help them associate good things with being a girl. Because if we force them against their will, kicking and screaming to get bra fittings and shit, yeah, that's great. Really great experience of girlhood. It's just control. It's the way that they are like, you have to do it the way that we want you to do it. Like, you have to demonstrate for me to believe. Because at the core, the thing is that they think that being trans and getting your gender affirmed or whatever is bad. But you have to demonstrate that that's actually doing them more harm than it is good. And I don't think they do that, obviously. It's like they're just fucking torturing these kids for no reason. Well, for a reason, they think, but it just doesn't work. That's the worst part about all of the conversion therapy shit, is that, like, it doesn't work. It just hurts people and doesn't make them not trans or not gay. You can't torture someone into not being queer. It just makes them fucked up. So you could have, like, a normal queer kid, or you could have an insanely traumatized, PTSD-riddled queer kid. Like, you gotta pick, I guess. me, I fear these are the kinds of parents that are like just trying to exert control over their kids' lives. They can't admit wrongdoing. It couldn't be, or they would rather blame themselves or something like that than actually listen to their kid. Yeah, absolutely. People don't understand that when you have a kid, it's not an extension of your will. It's not like a property that you have. It is a whole person that you have a responsibility to safeguard until they can form their own worldview. And like you sign up to love that person no matter what. Or you should. Like even I don't know. I guess I can't really form a huge opinion on parents right now. I don't have a great relationship on with my own set, so it's not like I can have uh I don't have the one and only truth in my head. I certainly haven't figured it out myself, so I'm not about to sit here and try to give advice on it, but I mean, my parents could have been like this and they're not. So even they are showing more support and more love than parents that are literally torturing their fucking kids, right? Like, ultimately. And it's not I don't have it that bad kind of thing, as much as it's like a. At least mine are within the realm of maybe helping them learn and not this insane bullshit.
Targeted at trans kids.
Right.
We've actually started to look into a different case involving doctors at a repetitive torture clinic pressuring minors to have sex in order to prove that they're transgender.
What the fuck?
Indeed, the gender critical ideology that motivates much of the anti-trans rhetoric, particularly in the
In what universe would that prove that you're trans? Like, how is that not just making kids fuck for your amusement? I don't know how that counts as science. Or even in the fucked up clown world they made up. That feels like it could just only be sex crimes. I don't know.
What's the context?
The context apparently is well, I'll play it over again.
Yeah, sorry.
normalize when it's targeted at trans kids. We've actually started to look into a different case involving doctors at a repetitive torture clinic pressuring minors to have sex in order to prove that they're transgender.
Oh, we have an expert.
Indeed, the gender critical ideology that
said. Well, how do you know you're trans if you haven't, had sex with a woman? What? What? It doesn't make a lick of sense.
Straight up weird thing to say, to be like, you just don't get it, dude. You haven't fucked a vagina yet, so you just don't get it. Like, what?
Especially when post-transition, straight woman, so that was like 2 levels.
Yeah, super crazy. It makes me sad that I mean, I think it's good that we are shining light on these fucking roaches, right? Making sure we need to be loud about it so we can make sure that it's not normal. We show people it's not normal to be this way. It's not normal to treat your fucking kids this way. And hopefully we can work on educating a better like group of people that won't do this to their kids. And I want to help these kids. Like, I want help to be given to these fucking kids that are going through this now. I want this to stop. It should be criminalized. Your religion should not give you leeway to be a bigot.
Motivates much of the anti-trans rhetoric, particularly in the UK and wider Europe, is fundamentally built upon narratives which sexualize children, declaring them breeding stock or a sexual resource that needs defending from a secret order of Jewish billionaires.
Oh, awesome.
This is mostly targeted at
So
trans men and AFAB MB folk, painting them as confused, often autistic, cis white girls, but harms all trans people in blocking said essential care across the board.
Yeah, it's the whole thing of like, oh, women are so fucking stupid. They just are getting tricked. It's the same monstrous, disgusting rhetoric that you hear everywhere because they only have the same 6 sentences passed around each other like the fucking brain cell. Ugh. It's really gross. I think she was, and this is all, obviously, she's got a reference. I have, where my thing is here, there are reference numbers right under my logo. I'm so sorry, but there's, like, references up in the corner. You can watch the video, and these all, like, tie to citations in the documents below. Again, and then I think referencing, yeah, her other things that she's done. And talked about those and look at, you know.
So this behavior is not unusual for gender-critical fascists, which becomes a huge problem when said fascists are adults in positions of power over children, whether they be legal guardians, teachers, or doctors. No child is safe around gender-critical fascists, not a single one.
I agree with that.
Anyone who defends, or worse, pushes for gender-critical fascists to be given access to or control over children needs to be investigated for child rape trafficking. That includes the UK government, particularly our current Health Secretary, Wes Streeting.
I mean, look, maybe that's a crazy accusation. Maybe you can say that's unreasonable. But hey, if they don't have anything to hide, what's the harm in it, right? Why don't we look into it? I feel like it's probably a good thing to make sure, right? I would like to know. Just to be sure. Just to make sure.
The real rape gang problem in the UK isn't migrants, it's gender-critical fascism, with said predators having clear political power designed to strip trans youth of their autonomy and make them easier targets to groom and abuse.
I've seen people say that Ethel's voice is very monotone and like boring sounding, and I cannot disagree more, personally. I love the passion that I hear in her voice when she gets fucking mad about something that she feels righteously upset about. And yeah, this makes sense to me as something she cares a lot about. When we say that we don't want to leave trans kids alone, it's because trans kids exist and we need to make sure that they get the care that they need and that we wish we had when we were that age.
Usually if you're trying to get someone who doesn't understand trans kids, if you're trans yourself and your parent doesn't understand being a trans kid but is open to like learning, just tell them, this is what it was like when I was younger. Imagine if I had help.
Yeah.
And that usually gets people to start thinking of like, wow, okay, that is a problem.
It's important to have difficult conversations with people. You don't have the responsibility to throw yourself into a position where you have like you're doing all this emotional labor and all of this educating I put myself in that position. I am happy to answer questions, but all of these things are like, it's important to have the conversations about stuff that makes us uncomfortable so that we challenge our preconceived notions. Because I think a lot of the time we feel like we know a lot more about the world than we actually do. It's the whole Dunning-Kruger thing, right? The Dunning-Kruger effect, the idea that you, at the beginning of learning a skill, are more likely to overestimate your ability. Simply because I believe in a lot of cases it's because you just don't know. Sorry. In most cases, I believe it's that you simply lack the expertise to understand that you don't have the expertise. You can certainly read on the Dunning-Kruger effect.
That is what Streeting has chosen to make himself an accessory to systematic child sexual abuse. There's also the neglect behind the abuse. That is to say, how Liam is being denied basic mental health support. This feeds into what we discussed in the first video, the way a child victim of sexual violence was denied access to a rape crisis center. That's the level of cruelty embodied by gender-critical adults. That's how much they're willing to force their child to suffer just to prevent any possibility that their child might feel comfortable and accepted in who they are. This is violently enforced isolation, solitary confinement, horrific psychological torture being weaponized on children. Because there is no evil too horrific for a gender-critical adult to inflict upon a child. Sadly, there's very few safeguards in place, as seen in the literal safeguarding body, refusing to even investigate after both Liam's school and GP made a safeguarding referral. This is a common theme, with the article going on to add that quote, Liam believes his parents are following the playbook of Desist, Detrans, and Detox, a conversion therapy manual promoted on Bayswater's website.
I mean, what good is the safeguarding system being there? What good is the safeguarding system being there if it's not going to be used at all? I mean, I guess you put people in power who believe a certain thing. Let's see if we need more. Oh. People get so blinded by hatred, I think, and just misunderstanding. It has to stem from somewhere, and I think maybe it's just the fear of lack of control, the fear that your child is doing something you don't want them to do, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to discount it because it's clearly gotta be a big. Obviously it's a big theme. We see this the idea of parental, especially like fraternal or not fraternal, fraternal brothers, right? Paternal, yeah, paternal power structures.
That's the key, right? Being being trans, questioning the gender that you are assigned, calls not only gender into question, but all of the systems that contribute to someone saying that you are that gender in the first place.
Yeah.
So there's the
If it can't be like if it's not boys will be boys, then that means we have to start taking responsibility.
that's absolutely a part of it too. There's an interesting thing that I've been asked quite a few times during our transition, especially at the beginning. The people in my family who are very conservative assholes would ask questions such as, "Why would you want to be a woman?" Mind you, this is women asking me these things, and I was like, "Why? Why do you want to be a woman?" No answer. And the discomfort that shot across their face, clearly something about that question messed with them. One of them even responded with, "Well, because I was born that way. That's just who I am." And I was like, "But you don't have to be that way. You don't have to stay that way.
Yeah.
Why do you choose to? Why do you continue to choose to be this when you might not be happy that way?"
You can change almost anything about yourself.
There's obviously limits based on technology, but that's not a social limit. Socially, we don't have to have all these rules and guidelines and conventions be so rigid. When it's social, when it's socially constructed, that means that we can change it. A lot of people don't see gender as socially constructed, though.
Did you end up with both lighters again?
Yeah.
You keep stealing my fucking lighters, chat.
There's a lot that goes into it, and I'm not going to be able to cover everything because there's always going to be some unique reason. But typically, what we see when we see people being reactively hostile to the idea of transness, it's usually rooted in this holding on to this system that might even be benefiting you. And why would you give that up? It's served you so well so far. And that statement is probably the best response for a lot of conservative folk. This system works. It can't be different. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's very unimaginative and
Well, it's a Monday.
It's unimaginative, uncurious. And quite frankly, at least in America, I can't speak to outside of America, but in America, United States specifically, the school systems are built to keep you uncurious about the world, about yourself, about people around you, and only make you curious to the necessary degree to keep you a factory worker.
We read that article on stream a couple weeks ago about how you've been traumatized out of reading.
I love that article.
It was really interesting. And it truly, I think, makes a good amount of sense. If the systems wanted you to have fun reading, you would do it.
Yeah, you would have fun reading. The people who make oodles of buckaroos doing whatever they love doing, and enjoy the fact that they make a bunch of money and enjoy the effects of money, of course the system is going to get you on its side in some way. That's the point behind an authoritarian system. Authoritarian systems are not just sticks to beat you down.
Mm-hmm.
They're also incentives to keep you engaged with the system, to keep you perpetuating the system. Remember that institutions and social constructs are reproduced through human activity.
Yeah.
To put it bluntly, humans are the reproductive organs of all of the institutions that exist. And that's
or at least the pollen. Yeah.
That's the idea, right? Is it's kind of this combination. I'm not going to get into Guattari's personalization. No, we're not doing that right now. But there is this point where we have to stop and like really take stock of where we are and start engaging with the things that we might have in a different context left behind because the incentives were different.
Yeah.
If we can change the incentives and reimagine them and reimagine why we even want the incentives in the first place, that's the start of a better future. There's this common thing that I hear from conservative folks where there's this idea that without capitalism, people wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Without,
Why
like-
would you do something without a profit motive?
Or like without having something given to you. And I think that's very short-minded.
It's so selfish.
And it's short-minded, but I understand why someone would do that. Why would you not do something if you gotta get something out of it?
True.
So when we
No, I get it, right? Yeah.
So when we build the future, that means that it has to also be so compelling that you want to build that future without making the decision that you are building that future.
Yeah.
That is micropolitics.
That's my wife. Thanks for bringing us a lecture about micropolitics. Everybody say thank you, Agatha.
Thank you, Agatha.
Gimme. Finish your hit and then give me.
I gotta finish this drink.
You did it again. Is it spent $300 on music and maxed out your credit card limit? Is it thought about buying a espresso machine? Is it sending a link to wellness check to a latent transsexual?
I gotta say it that way. Are we hiding?
The Esther. You made it from scratch again. You're insane.
Hey, what from?
This entire image is entirely constructed from scratch.
Oh.
It's made to look like a screensaver or a screenshot, but she made it look like that on purpose. My fucking weirdo graphic design girlfriend, I love you. I like that there was a number of its that it could have been, and it was still none of those things. You're a creature of habit. I love you. I am also a creature of habit. I can't help it.
Is a section about how to recruit relatives into conversion efforts. He has witnessed his mum talking to relatives about his transition. I told another family member about my parents' attempts at conversion practices, and I wasn't believed.
That's
Lee
insane.
said. End quote. First, there's the manual. The fact that this is even a thing that exists and is routinely promoted in the Bayswater group shows just how organized this violence is. Sure, there might not be a building somewhere with trans children being dragged into the basement like US conversion camps, but this is being orchestrated. The government knows this, and they're not just allowing it, they're promoting those responsible. Then there's the lack of adult care, how cis people, particularly in the UK, are so willfully ignorant of just how bad things are being made by gender-critical fascists that they won't even check when a child tells them they're being abused. I've even seen this general mentality with my own family, particularly my dad. I remember bringing up the horrific shit Rowling had done at the time when someone brought her up, quoting specific examples, only for him to assert with full conviction that, no she didn't. I was just left standing there.
Yeah, I would too.
Stunned,
Like,
asking myself, excuse me, do you fucking keep tabs on her for work?
yeah,
Is this
like,
sort of blissful ignorance cis people
that's so, yeah, she's so fucking right. It's this ignorance. I think the most offended I've ever seen my dad get at something I did, we were just hanging out in Olive Garden, and he was talking about something. I think I brought up Elon Musk and Twitter just to, like, as an easy laugh, like, oh, have you seen what happened when Elon Musk bought Twitter? And he was like, oh, and he started talking about how Elon was, like, super smart and super cool, and I just started laughing. And, like, just genuine shock. Like, I was like, this is a joke. This has to be a joke. Yeah, it would have been really funny.
have, a real privilege they like to use to preserve their comfort, this sense that all is right with the world, when it very much isn't. Yeah,
Oh my god.
experience-
We just had a talk about how I've been, like, rotating Shinji in my mind. Because I've been, like, I'm just bouncing ideas about Evangelion around in my brain. And literally she just says, all is right in the world. God is in his heaven and all is right in the world. Thank you, Nerve, for protecting us from the terrible angels. Dun, 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 dun. I think that part of that got sampled again in a RuneScape music piece that I'm thinking of, because I'm feeling like I'm getting the Nerve theme and that thing in a RuneScape sound font kind of mixed up a little bit.
Or one of, like, there's a couple Final Fantasy named, like, brass.
Could be. Maybe. I'll have to look into it.
Also, that's not accurate to any piece.
No,
I'm
just saying words.
saying noises, yeah. Making words, saying noises.
Making words. Seeing pizza, eating movies. Papa John's.
as shitty as it was, pales in comparison to that of a victim of gender-critical parental abuse who reached out only to be ignored, as with Liam. I can't even begin to imagine just how much courage it took for Liam to reach out to family for support about the need for other adults in his life to protect him from his parents.
I can't imagine what that'll do to that person's, like, a idea of trust for the rest of their life. I've had, like, little things that my parents do really shake my foundations when it came to trust. I'm not even sure if they remember some of the shit that really foundationally shook me.
Only to be dismissed, to be gaslit. One thing you learn as a child victim of abuse is just how little of a shit the vast majority of adults actually give about the safety of children. We see this in everything from child sexual abuse to torture, like we're discussing today. Sure, adults fucking love to say that they support any child in need. Many will even fantasize about all the things they do to a child predator or abuser should they ever encounter one.
That's so gross. It's just fetishizing violence. And it's used to, like, again, it's used to accuse people of being a predator, and then that's why I kicked the shit out of them, because it's justified to beat the shit out of somebody. I don't know. I don't want violence normalized, ultimately. Especially not violence against fucking kids.
But when they're actually needed, when a child is calling for their help, they're nowhere to be seen. It is absolutely soul crushing and makes victims feel so isolated, like they're drowning, completely unseen by all those around them. Yet sadly, that's not the worst thing that can happen, with some gender-critical parents poisoning the family against them, including their own siblings, as explained by Noah, who is also 16 to 18 years old at the time of this article, with it stating, quote, Noah has also observed his mother co-opting other family members into her rejection of her trans son. In spite of coming out several years ago, he has never had a forthright conversation with his younger siblings about his own gender. Instead, Noah says his mother instilled fear about transition in his younger siblings. They were left believing, as soon as I went off to uni, I was going to pump myself full of horrible drugs, that was going to give me heart disease, and I was going to die of a heart attack, he said.
Just
Noah
insane.
thinks his mother believes in a link between gender and the possibility of death.
That's so
if no one manages
cruel.
to get hold of hormones, his mother has stated plans to destroy them, he says. He also expressed concern that she plans to force him to see a conversion therapist over the summer in a last-ditch attempt to prevent him from transitioning.
It's
End
so
quote.
cruel.
Again, absolutely horrific.
Just absolutely clawing for every shred of control over this child's life that they can, and that's sickening to me.
To be a minor who is very openly demonized by your own mother to your siblings is traumatic.
Obviously.
Just the sheer level of hatred on display here. Again, targeting a child.
Her
And
child.
it doesn't stop at demonization, as Noah explained, with the article reading, quote, Noah has seen how his mother's transphobia has morphed into broader reactionary politics. I think she's very worried that I'm going to get off to uni, get involved in an illegal protest, and then go to jail for a bunch of years, he said. While this may appear unrelated to him being trans, Noah says in his mother's mind, the two are intimately connected. She said that she didn't actually want me to get the grades that I wanted because it would mean going off to uni, and that she kinda hoped that I would fail so she'd have more time to desist me.
Jesus Christ.
Noah believes her fears has led his mother to attempt to sabotage his A-levels, embroiling him in regular hours-long arguments that distract him from his studies. End quote. So it's very much a possibility, and I have absolutely no reason to doubt Noah, that his mum is actively trying to sabotage his future in a last-ditch attempt to control him and his body. Again, these are the actions of the people Wes Streeting and the wider Labour government have thrown their full support behind. This is the violence they are complicit in. Other gender-critical parents, meanwhile, outright cut their children off from family members. See Charlotte, who was 22 when they came out, with the article explaining that, quote, Charlotte's mother has been more successful in creating barriers between them and their extended family, weaponizing the idea that trans people are dangerous to children to prevent them seeing their niece.
That's
My mum
so
told me that
fucked
as
up.
long as
You're like, what are you trying to say? That, like, your own daughter is gonna poison your nieces? Yeah, she's gonna put Satan in them or something. It's just so gross. The way that you're talking about your child. Why do you hate them so much?
I present as Charlotte, I'm not allowed to see her because it's not fair on the child to be caught up in this situation, they said. I don't feel comfortable talking to that side of the family because I know how much my mum talks and what my mum says. End quote. Once again, not only presenting Charlotte as a threat to themselves, like with Noah, but to the children in their life.
Are you like trying to say that your kid is gonna sexually assault their cousins because they're trans? Is that what you're trying to say? That's so gross, dude.
Casting a young adult, their own child, as something to be afraid of simply because they've learned who they are. Is it any surprise then that Charlotte openly stated that, quote, my parents very clearly do not love me, end quote, when this is the violence they choose to engage in, spurred on in large part by the Bayswater Group, who is in turn enabled by the UK government. That's why Noah gave us the quote at the start, telling us that he needs these cases of abuse and neglect to be the thing that comes up anytime someone searches the name of the group. Unsurprisingly, a number of these people have cut off contact with their families, with others planning to do so. The sad
It's really, really, really hard to cut off a family, to cut off any family member, and this is somebody who has done it before. There are a lot of reasons that go into it, and I ultimately still want things to be able to be resolved. But again, I'm not trying to get into my too personal business here on the internet where we have haha funny silly times, but you know, it's not easy to do, and you don't do it lightly.
thing is, far from forcing said parents to reflect on their horrific actions, this will likely be taken and presented as further proof of just how terrible and far-reaching the trans agenda really is. That is,
The
in my
woke
experience of having
transgender
covered this
mafia.
topic for more than a decade now, the most likely outcome. Though it's not the only possible outcome. And I do genuinely hope, for the sake of all those interviewed by Sasha and Valeria, that these so-called parents wake the fuck up. Because it can happen. We've seen it happen before. Dr. Caroline Littman, the mother whose trans daughter's suicide as the result of a lack of NHS care was excluded from the government farce, which was the Appleby report, was herself a gender-critical parent at one point, but she learned to prioritize the safety and health of her child. Sadly, it wasn't enough to save Caroline. But who knows? With the Supreme Court ruling backfiring the way it has and the recent actions of Bashback, maybe we're on the verge of turning things around and fixing the wounds inflicted upon the trans community by gender-critical fascists.
We can hope
the
so.
minds they've poisoned and the families they've destroyed. I certainly like to think so, and I'd invite you all to join me in that hope as we continue to push forward. Though, what do you think?
I really like
What
that.
are your thoughts on the article? How long do you think it will take before the violence enabled by Wes Streeting and the wider Labour Party is recognised for what it is? Do you want a video on Bashback? And is there anything specific you'd like us to touch on? Did you notice something I missed? If so, be sure to let me know in the comments down
I
below.
think I would like a video on Bashback, if only because it is not something I have a ton of context on. Maybe again, I feel like maybe I'm too focused on trans rights in the US right now, but that wasn't on my radar.
And if you appreciate what we do here and want to help keep us running, please consider becoming one of multiple patrons who make our work possible. You can also make a one-time donation via PayPal or Super Thanks on YouTube. On that note, we'd just like to thank the following people: Matthew Kovac, Flynn, Bo Ayer, Deborah Goldsmith, Higgins the Seagull, Jackie Sins, Mix Alba,
Another
and Peter Cole.
banger.
And for myself, Adita and Levi, take care now.
Hell yeah. Thank you again, Ethel. You're doing God's work. Alright, I want to skip over to this video. I found a video about Rochester, which is where I live, where I grew up. And this is a story about transportation history, which I thought would be interesting. I think this is probably about the inner loop.
It's about the inner loop.
It's about the inner loop.
It actually is taking out people who lived, did commerce, and had businesses. They're now gone.
Highways caused tremendous social rifts in communities and just tore people apart.
For decades, highways were sold as progress. A promise to connect America, to drive prosperity to our cities. But in places like Rochester, New York, that promise came with a cost. One they're still recovering from today. And a warning for every city considering the same mistakes. Because once you realize what happened here, you might start to wonder, were we all scammed? The inner loop was built to connect, to modernize, but it ended up dividing.
The inner loop was constructed primarily as a sort of circulator to be able to access downtown. If you lived in the suburbs, you could access downtown really without having to go through the street grid. So from 1952 to 1965 in sections, they built the inner loop to allow people basically to do that.
Like so many neighborhoods across America, Rochester sacrificed its thriving neighborhoods for the promise of progress through modern highways. The result? Decades of economic stagnation, social fragmentation, and the exodus of residents that left their once vibrant neighborhood abandoned.
Who really was displaced? And we looked at the database, city directories. We could find names of
Rochester is only recently starting to like regrow from ripping its own roots out. I mean, we lost Kodak, we lost Xerox's like monopoly on a lot of stuff. And then the fucking inner loop just destroyed communities. But I mean, at least the trans community here is really good. And we have lots of good community events. Rochester is a cool place. I like it here.
people, a lot of immigrant names, Mrs. So-and-so, a lot of widows, a lot of names from all over the world. You had Italian, Polish, you had black and brown, but mostly, whatever. It was a real mixture, and it was, I think, honestly, they created light so they had an excuse to destroy some of it.
You know, that tore apart communities. And those are rifts that are still being felt today. Those are wounds that are still being felt today. The inner loop created a moat, basically, in neighborhoods such that, you know, they used to be able to just cross the street and go to a friend's house, and now they had to, you know, walk a mile to a bridge and circle back, right? That's what these projects did. They caused tremendous social rifts in communities and just tore people apart.
You would see people trying to run across the depressed highway to get from one side to the other because there are relatively few crossings.
Planners at the time decided, well, you know, we're going to prioritize getting cars in and out of the city center. And they literally ripped up the fabric of what downtown was.
First, you built this ditch. Then you took away our neighborhood schools. You took away our grocery stores, our businesses, and you could see them all being closed.
Rochester certainly wasn't the only city to fall victim to this idea of progress.
One segment of a great national system of highways that one day soon will connect the major cities of our land.
Across the country, highways
just
were
sold us
as
cars.
The key to better cities.
And yes, in some places, the interstate highway did bring along economic growth by connecting major metropolitan areas. But in many ways, we overbuilt, bringing more economic decline in the long run, and for the most vulnerable.
Those affected by these decisions, that price was steep. And the thing is, that price is still being paid today.
These houses have the highway in their backyard, literally in their backyard.
Yep.
So you can see there's houses here, there's neighborhoods, there's people, so you can get a feel. This is still the sort of feel that was here prior to the interloop.
Yeah, I know exactly
Even
where
now,
this shit
highway
is.
expansion projects are happening.
Whenever they're
in
panning
cities
over, like
across the
all this
US.
shit, I know where that is.
Not because the people of those cities are
This
asking
is,
for
I
them,
think,
but because
not.
the federal
I think
government
that's
is
LA.
paying for them.
And a controlled access highway is based on these traffic count figures.
This federal money isn't allocated based on the needs of local communities or the impact on neighborhoods. It's simply a continuation of the system to force these cities to accept these projects as progress. The Highway Trust Fund, originally designed to help build the interstate highway system, continues to push cities to build and widen roads they don't need. Since 2014, the U.S. public interest groups found 73 unnecessary or wasteful highway projects. Projects slated to cost at least $173 billion in taxpayer money. As long as the federal government continues to write those checks, cities are incentivized to keep expanding highways, even when they don't want them, and when they can't afford the long-term consequences. But these highways aren't just costing us in dollars. They're paying for the same mistakes we made decades ago. We're repeating history. But here's the real question. If federal money is keeping the cycle alive, what will it take to break it? What will it take for cities to reject endless expansion? To turn away from a policy that destroys neighborhoods and damages communities?
I mean, that's a good question.
In Rochester,
I would like to know.
The fight to reverse this mistake didn't begin with a wave of federal money, but with local visionaries and advocates who realized it was time to change course. It took decades of disinvestment, suffering, and abandonment to get to this point. A city scarred by a highway that should never have been. But in Rochester's story, we see the possibility of renewal. A chance to reclaim what was
The
lost.
Strong! That's the Strong Museum right there. I love the Strong Museum. If you ever go to Rochester, go to the Strong. It's really awesome. It's a toy museum, like a museum of games and play. It's awesome. The whole history of it is really cool.
In 2014, Rochester took its first significant step towards reconciliation. A $24 million project to fill in an eastern portion of the inner loop.
Yeah!
The Inner Loop East project here, where we removed a 2/3 mile segment of grade-separated highway on the southeast side of downtown Rochester. Our goal was, if you remove the highway and you come back in 10, 15, 20 years, you'll never know that there was a highway here because we built a community here. And there's people out walking and biking and grabbing coffee and living life, right?
That's the
An effort
idea.
to reconnect neighborhoods
I mean,
that had
that's
been severed for
good.
decades. It wasn't a quick fix. It was a necessary correction.
A recognition that the damage done could never be undone.
But at least could begin to heal.
These these highways cast a pall on the communities that they land within. As we look to eliminate these highways, you should be able to do the exact opposite, which is return some wealth back to the communities that suffered when these highways were built.
That sounds
and at the same
good to me.
time, as you look at what can be built on lands that replace it, you have to think about how that land can be productive for residents that have lived or were displaced by the highway in the first place.
Over the years, the transformation has been remarkable. New apartments, green spaces, restaurants have breathed new life into the area.
I think when I say like working within a system, I feel like this is what we need to do. Stuff like this where we're helping to build communities where we had severed them.
And with it, a sense of hope and renewal.
We're going into a store that was sitting on top of the Interloop. Oh, morning. As we come inside, we can tell this is actually it's a community hub here, fresh fruits and vegetables, fresh meat. So it's great to have this hub in a community that, once again, that didn't exist. This was a highway. So now we've got a great store owners, and people that are invested and connected.
And the expansion of the Strong Museum, which is a great family resource. This expansion into the Interloop space was meant to increase their yearly visitorship from 600,000 to 1 million people.
Yay! I'm glad to hear that.
Questions loom over.
I genuinely, every time I get to hear the Strong Museum is succeeding, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Literally just a museum of like toys and games and cool shit. And I love that. It has like classes for kids and like big toy sets to play on and library books you can take. It's the coolest shit ever.
The impact on the people who have lived here the longest.
1 in 4 households.
My inner child
doesn't
loves
have
the Strong
access to a private
Museum.
vehicle, and some of the neighborhoods adjacent to Interloop, it's 1 in 2. So it's a real problem. So part of what we're trying to accomplish is knitting back together a street grid, kind of similar to what was here before the Interloop was constructed.
And so we've been advocating to the city and everyone else who's involved in making those decisions from the county, state, and federal level that we need to continue to build the network together. And we call it the Bike Spine Network. Once we get done with this, we'll have a spine of interconnected, safe, protected infrastructure that will be accessible for people of all ages and abilities to enjoy.
Biking, more biking, more bike
supported
paths.
by a lot of supportive bike corridors that connect neighborhoods and destinations.
Before we continue, we want to thank our partners at the Center for Civic Engagement for making this video possible. We're proud to team up with them for the Civic Leaders Summit, a national conference on civic engagement, happening September 23rd through September 25th this year in Pensacola, Florida. The summit will help you get local with actionable strategies, practical tools and tactics, and impactful connections.
I think this is the kind of activism I need to like. Obviously, I want to be involved in queer activism, and I will be. But I think also I want to be involved in like town building and community building. I think that's where I would thrive. I would fucking love to work at the Strong Museum. Strong Museum, hit me up. I love you.
Rochester has. The agenda is full of people who are in the trenches doing that work right now, and who are committed to bringing tried and true strategies to help communities solve the toughest problems. For more information, be sure to check out the link in our description. Now back to the video.
We tend to think highways are free, paid for by the gas tax and the federal government. But here's the truth. Building a highway is just the beginning. Cities are responsible for maintaining them forever.
Yeah.
And that gets expensive fast.
It costs.
That's also where you get shit like Rochester had so many. There was a highway expansion project that was being done to connect like fucking 531 to 31 in Brockport that like ruined that area forever, and like people's houses had it torn up and shit. And like, yeah, it's a little more convenient to get there now, but oh god, it was such a mess. And stuff just gets like left forever. Like, I mean, right now, the company that was supposed to fix Brockport's bridge, like the lift bridge, just isn't fixing it, and they're getting charged like $1,500 a day or something if they don't fix it. It's insane.
Us as taxpayers more money to keep up this failing, crumbling infrastructure than to do something else with it. So if you don't have a productive use for the parcel, then you're not generating
This guy's
any
cute
tax
little
revenue. And, a sunken highway
like his little
is
outfit in
really
his
actually
chair.
sucking the resources out of the city.
In fact,
I
only about
always-
half
I
of
like
all road
him.
spending comes from drivers.
I like his vibe.
The rest, it comes from general taxes, sales tax, property tax, money that could be funding schools, fire departments, and fixing water mains. So why do we keep building roads? Partly because the federal government pays us to. Remember the Highway Trust Fund that we mentioned earlier? States get reimbursed for up to 90% of highway construction costs. That's a deal cities can't resist, especially when local budgets are tight. But here's the catch. Those funds only cover building the highways, not maintaining them. So cities take on massive liabilities in exchange for short-term cash.
Yeah, so this is where the inner loop restarts, right? So it used to come off of this turn and just shoot straight down there.
Yep.
Now it kind of
And it
winds back and
sucks.
joins the street grid. So the idea was, do you spend $50 million to repair that decay, or do you spend $22 million to create more developable space, which we have? And as you can see, there's very little traffic usage. I think that decision worked out okay.
And the trust fund itself, it's been insolvent since 2008, kept alive by $275 billion in emergency bailouts from Congress. That's not sustainable.
Damn.
That's not smart. That's not local decision making. It's infrastructure by subsidy. And here's where it gets worse. Most of the roads we build are meant to serve low density, car dependent development. Here's a textbook example of this created by our friends at Urban 3, a firm that analyzes the relationship between building design and tax production. Okay, so check out this illustration. It shows the tax value of a big box store near Asheville, North Carolina, compared with a modest downtown building. Pay special attention to the taxes per acre. The more buildings are spread apart with half-empty parking lots and more roads, the less that land is worth on a tax scale.
So we actually have used Urban 3's analysis and some of the videos that they've produced here locally in Rochester to talk about value per acre and land use decisions. So when we are, often we'll hear about a new economic development project that's been greenlit and being given some state funding, but it's being built somewhere really far removed from the public transit lines. And so anytime that happens, we pull out our public transit map and we highlight the lines that are going out from the city center. There's kind of a spider of lines that go out, and it said, how come nobody thought to locate this economic development opportunity along a corridor that's already served by public transit? Because when you do that, you have a multiplier effect. You have the public transit is serving the economic development, the employees can get to work in a much simpler timeline, and the value per acre around that area, tends to go up, and it, generates tax revenue for the city.
Yeah.
So I do think that a lesson learned from Rochester is that especially where state DOTs will listen, cities taking the lead and saying, we will, if this highway is removed, we will take
I love
over
that.
the infrastructure that's
It's in Rochester because it's that gloomy Rochester sky. It just looks like shit outside all the time. That's Rochester, baby.
maintain it. It'll be hours. That's got to be part of the
It does.
of that give and take I mentioned before, right?
It's
the
been
benefit cost of it
scorching
all,
lately.
right? When the state is looking at spending millions of dollars, they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on maintenance, whether it's snow removal, pothole patching, highway lighting, things like that. Or when there's repair.
I think there's a reason that Rochester has also been a city that's pushing back against the sanctuary city shit and pushing back against ICE because we are already a very tightly knit community of people who are already community minded because of shit like this, where we have community building projects that people are dedicating themselves to actually make the city better. People are fucking passionate about this city.
That are required, whether it's the bridges that go over the highway, the retaining walls, the sign structures, all of that comes at a significant cost. So if you look at the benefit cost for this project, it was easily answered just by virtue of that. The life cycle maintenance cost of repairing this highway versus building something different, and the life cycle cost of maintaining this. It didn't even necessarily have to take into consideration all the development, all the commerce that would result, the public health and safety benefits of creating a community. Cities need to be mindful of that when they get into these conversations.
Once these highways are built, they're incredibly hard to remove, and their impact is lasting. Best way to prevent the destruction of neighborhoods and communities is through early, proactive engagement. When projects like these are proposed, it's crucial that communities come together, share their voices, and fight for what they value most.
The city of Rochester is now filling in the inner loop, and it is a correction to the history.
Oh, I think this is
urban
Highland
renewal,
Park.
right? So
This looks like it might be Highland Park. No, well, maybe not. This might be the other park.
that and
I guess it would
making
make more sense if it was
housing
over there.
more affordable so that people can actually move back into their neighborhoods and be community again.
There's so
And I think it's
many
a wonderful thing that
good
that is
gatherings
happening.
in this
Our
city.
church will be kind of off to
Pride
the
was so
right of all
fun.
the action, and it'll just be great to see new communities forming and vibrancy.
Talk about bike infrastructure like this, or where they talk about, building upon an old underutilized
Where's that? That's Howell. Okay.
highway. I really didn't think this was going to happen in my city. I came from Chicago. I loved it. It was great. But you don't think you're going to have those elements in a city like Rochester, especially when it was where it was 20 years ago. And now we have some of those elements. And it makes me think that anything's possible. And it's so easy to get down on our cities, our communities, and what's wrong. And I see so much that's going right. And there's still more to come. There's a lot more work to do, especially at the granular level, at the social level.
That's a really
But
hopeful
I've seen
outlook that I really
progress
respect.
I never thought I'd see here, and I am truly inspired.
People like this guy are out there doing the good thing. Trying to fight for this fucking cool ass city we got.
If we're serious about building stronger, more sustainable communities, we have to stop pouring
Yes,
money
pan over the
into
Strong
new
Museum
highways and lane
again.
expansions.
Yes, show us the Strong Museum again. There it is again. I love my cool fucking city. Rochester represent.
Connect with others who want to stop highway expansion by becoming a Strong Towns member.
Oh yeah. The weak museum of work. Yes, true. It's just Dilbert. All right, one more. We're watching the new Some More News episode. I don't think I watched the new Dropout episode. Maybe I did. I don't remember. No, I did. I did. I was in a... My brain was atrophied at the moment.
Me, oh my, oh me. Boy, howdy, folks. It has been a year.
Yes, it has,
I've come
Mr.
a long
Shody.
way since I was sitting here 12 months ago saying, me, oh my, oh me. What a journey it's been. What? No fooling.
No fooling?
Whoa! Oh, apparently it's been just like 6 seconds. That is disheartening. So here's some news. There's too many news.
True.
We need less news, fewer newses. Every time we write and record an episode about news, well, shucks, there ends up being more news before we can talk about the other news. But we're gonna try to keep up. Even if it kills us, even if we are found dead in a basement, our bodies forming the runic Ihwaz symbol for the word horse, we will cover the news. In this case, news
Jody?
you may have stopped thinking about, but that happened nonetheless. That's today, because me, oh my, oh me.
Oh, 1 sec. Did I make sure to like this? I did not. Clearly, I'm a fake fan, not liking all of my videos that I'm watching.
When a hotel grifter gathers a bunch of conspiracy theorists to run the government, there's kind of a lot going on. News we missed. Weirdos are in charge.
That's true.
Right. If you feel like there's too much news and wonder why, that's why. When the people in charge are just running around smashing stuff and fighting each other, it tends to make compounding headlines. It would be really nice if we didn't have to constantly worry, but we do. Because somebody, not gonna name names, but somebody decided it would be a good idea to put Republicans in charge of all 3 branches of our government. Except not just Republicans, but some of the most conspiracy-brained, far-right, terminally online Republicans there are. Not that they'd be that hard to find. We put them all in charge. Cool, thanks. But hey, there's a silver lining here. Now that they are in charge of everything, conservatives can't whine about how everything is overrun by the woke mob. I mean, they still will, but they can't. For once, we get to see what things look like when they're calling the shots. When what they think is good happens. And maybe, if we live, we can remember what it was like the next time there's an election. I'm not even just talking about politics here. Like, remember Elon Musk?
I do
He bought
remember
this
him.
website called Twitter because he thought it was infected with woke. His plan was to make it a beacon of free speech or something. Politically neutral, he said.
That's
A
what he
new
said.
era, a haven for the marketplace of ideas where modern philosophers can exchange thoughts and engage in debate that is elevated from all ideological biases and preconceived notions. Huzzah! Anyway, Grok is a Nazi. Get out of there, boys. Grok is a Nazi.
Hi, welcome. What an awesome time to join. I'm gonna grab a popsicle real quick. Woo! I changed my mind. I decided to get room temperature pasta instead.
Boy, the internet is terrible. We should stop doing the internet. Just unplug it and plug it back in.
Oh god.
That fixes it? Okay, so you know Grok, right? That's Elon's large language model AI that he stuck on X, the everything app, formerly known as Twitter. It's like the Jeb Bush of AI, in that no one really takes him seriously, and he'll always be in his big brother's shadow, who also sucks. See, it's easy to forget, but Musk sank unknown millions into OpenAI before they came out with ChatGPT. At least $10 million, probably more. Then he tried to take more control of the company in 2018 and was voted down by Sam Altman and other founders. Probably because no one likes him. But to be fair, that's probably because he's so unlikable. And that's actually a key and newsworthy detail here. Nobody likes Elon Musk. He's not imaginative or talented, and he perpetually sits outside of the cool club right up until he buys the club. That's pretty much what happened with ChatGPT. Musk lost a power struggle with OpenAI, they went on to make a wildly popular chatbot, and yet another supervillain plot was formed. Musk was already acquiring Twitter as ChatGPT was launching, yet another little club, giving him the perfect opportunity to make his own better and cooler OpenAI. He's such a visionary to do the other guy's thing after he did it. But his will be bigger and better. Musk advertised his new AI chatbot as having a bit of wit and something that would be willing to take on questions that other large language models might avoid. It would have a rebellious streak, which you might recognize as foreshadowing. Non-woke AI, if you will, and the future of the world depended on it.
What's happening is they're training the AI to lie.
Yes.
It's bad.
To lie. That's exactly right. And to withhold information.
To lie and yes, and yeah, exactly. To either comment on some things, not comment on other things, but not to say what the data actually demands that it say.
During Grok's launch event, Musk actually argued that politically correct AI would lead to some kind of HAL 9000 situation. A reference to a film he probably didn't understand or maybe even see, but does.
Oh, you
like
watched Princess Diaries? That's awesome.
I'm sure his favorite character is Captain Odyssey, because it would be weird and sad to simply admit
Now I got a popsicle.
that you got pushed out of that other guy's club.
Oh, what? Let's order pizza? Be right back. You like the pepperoni one? I had to answer an important question about pizza.
It would be weird and sad to simply admit that you got pushed out of that other guy's club and wanted to start your own, or that you think the left is being mean to you. You have to act like there's a higher calling here. Musk is currently experiencing a lifelong midlife crisis, it seems, but his brain can't admit that. Instead, he made up a fake problem to solve, saying that his AI will be maximally truth-seeking, something that will be inherently curious about human beings and would want to protect them. Musk's AI would seek the truth no matter who it offends, unless it offends him. Because to Musk's, I guess, credit, the first version of Grok seemed to actually be truth-seeking. The problem, of course, was that Musk and his conservative fans don't actually like the truth. Grok said trans women are women, vaccines don't cause autism, DEI isn't racist. An analysis by the Washington Post in March found that Grok's third update, Grok 3, would very often contradict Musk's viewpoints. But hey, it's just facts, bro. You get your feelings hurt by those facts? Yes, Elon did get his feelings hurt, it seems. Because after this, Grok started acting a bit different. Almost like someone was messing with its programming. It's just speculation, but there were some subtle clues pointing to who this could be.
The AI chatbot Grok, created by Elon Musk's xAI, has been responding to queries with unrelated information about violence against white people in South Africa. In one example, a user asked Grok, "Where is this?" in reference to a photo of a walking path. The user didn't mention South Africa, and the photo does not appear to be from that country. Grok responded, "The query asks about the location of a scenic image likely not tied to South Africa's farm attack debate." Later in the response, Grok said on the broader topic implied, farm attacks in South Africa are real and brutal, and went on to elaborate on such claims.
Ah, yes. Yes. Weird that the truth-seeking AI owned by a man who has spewed endlessly about a fake genocide afflicting white people in his home country was suddenly also talking about the fake genocide.
That's
I guess
weird.
Some mysteries weren't meant to be solved. Anyway, xAI blamed the issue on a, quote, unauthorized modification to the bot's code that someone made at 3:15 a.m. Okay, so someone with access to the code who's also known to scuttle around X at 3 a.m. So many people it could be! So this was the point where the true horror began to set in. Grok wasn't so much a product for humanity as it was the personal coping mechanism for a single billionaire. And now we all got to watch him tweak it in real time to better pander to his own personal views. And because he's apparently bad at programming, it got really sad and obvious, like looking at a child's misspelled search history for big anime lady mulkers. In June, an X user asked Grok if more political violence had stemmed from the right or the left since 2016. When Grok gave a correct answer, Musk replied that the bot was effectively broken, claiming, "Major fail, as this is objectively false. Grok is parroting legacy media, working on it." As part of this promised update, he asked X users to respond to his posts with divisive facts to train Grok on. Quote, "By this I mean things that are politically incorrect, but nonetheless factually true." So just to quickly recap, Elon Musk purchased Twitter and made it his own right-wing playground, then made an AI chatbot and told his personal followers to feed that chatbot politically incorrect information they wanted it to treat as facts. Surely that won't go wrong.
Grok's gone on a pro-Hitler racist bender.
Huh. It seems like Elon Musk's fans are a bunch of fucking Nazis.
Crazy.
Wonder why. Right. So far right. Okay, so yeah, it turns out that those tweaks made by Musk gave Grok full permission to be an unbridled groiper, a word for stupid Nazi teenager, telling users that radical leftists spewing anti-white hate usually have a Jewish surname, praising Hitler a bunch, and in fact, declaring itself Mecha Hitler. For the record, this isn't the first time that an AI chatbot immediately turned racist when fed a diet of Twitter. It's kind of what happens when you ask social media for some kind of participation. It's always 1 part Bodie McBoatface and then 2 parts Hitler face. In fact, before Musk bought the site, there was an attempt to ban more Nazis, but they found that it would mean banning American conservative politicians as well. Also, it should be noted that Grok actually assumed the role of Elon Musk himself, writing in first person that he had never had a close relationship with convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. So again, we were watching someone very embarrassingly try to tweak their public coping mechanism and failing. Like if you made a sex robot that stabbed you. And now, that robot just secured a $200 million contract with the United States Department of Defense. That means that Musk will be developing AI tools for the US military. Great idea, XAI said in a statement. Under the umbrella of Grok for Government, we will be bringing all of our world-class AI tools to federal, local, state, and national security customers.
You do not want the racist Mecha Hitler AI in the hands of the government making decisions. Please. Please do not AI generate our policy.
Hey! Someone kill me! No, not really. I love life. And actually, I'll kill you to get more of it. It's just frustrating. Musk is this incredibly transparent man, and not in the, oh, he's so open and honest kind of way. He's rich and unlikable and determined to force himself on everyone. He was and is the worst poster on Twitter, no matter what the website is called. A terminally unfunny man spewing stale memes. And instead of having any self-reflection, he purchased Twitter to make himself feel more popular. But it wasn't enough. Reality didn't coincide with his own views. So he made this anti-woke AI robot and told all of his followers that it was the embodiment of truth. And when that didn't agree with him, he tweaked it and molded it into this Nazi abomination until it catered to his own personal opinions. So far from the truth-seeking goal he originally claimed. Just like how he turned Twitter into his own personal right-wing fan club, he is determined to cater everything to his ego. Because when you're rich, you can just buy reality.
Oh no.
Be that a newspaper or a
I
search
know.
engine or Twitter.
You're
or I
being
guess
such a
the entire
butthole.
country.
You're
Because
being
we
so
all
cute
have
and
to
you
deal
won't let
with
me
Grok
hold
now,
you even
I
for a
guess.
second.
As a
You
matter
suck.
of national defense, a single rich guy's racist imaginary friend is gonna help run the government? No one asked for it, but no one asked for Elon Musk either. But he's rich, and rich people can just do anything now.
True.
So anyway, you know what people do ask for? Ads. People are always asking us for ads. I promise you. They're asking, and you will prove it. Well, binders and so many forms of all the people who are asking us for ads. So I have some great news, and I'll tell you about it after these ads. The ads were the great news. Isn't that great? News? Hey, speaking of news, we have more news.
More
We're
news.
just talking about Elon Musk forcing himself into the lives of every American. And it's worth stressing how his entire tactic was to take something he wanted, call it woke, and then make his own version. Twitter was bad and run by Democrats, so he took it over. ChatGPT was woke and lied to people, so he made his own. He thought cars exploded because of wokeness, etc. In every case, he tried, poorly, to claim that he was some kind of elevated centrist that was going to seek out the truth and free speech, and then almost immediately became the right-wing version of the thing he claimed to be fighting. The most partisan free speech snuffing right-wing stooge imaginable, staying up at 3 a.m., hastily reprogramming his truth bot to pander
Elevated,
to his own ego and
centrist,
the ultra-right.
advanced
And
scumbag.
that's part of a pattern that extends to the Trump administration. When they aren't
Oh!
in control.
Oh! There he was! Picture of him on the roof!
And that's part of a pattern that extends to the Trump administration.
He's just up there! Did you see that? He was just on the roof. Just yelling down at the people in the news media. Diddler on the roof. Oh my goodness gracious, children.
Administration. When they aren't in control, or frankly, even when they are in control, conservatives really love to push the narrative of this deep state of lefties forcing their woke agenda on poor, honest Americans. But when they get control, they can finally expose the evil. And so, for example, just a random name off the top of my head, Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay.
Remember him? We just did an entire episode about how Trump is so clearly the guiltiest man in the world. MAGA was so very excited to expose Epstein's client list. Up until Trump got elected and is now trying to make everyone forget about it. But it's not just the poor pedophile president of the United States that's taking a hit. Won't someone think of the Dan Bonginos? Cash and Bongino's bogus journey.
You can get it. Read the chapter.
It's a fascinating moment in history. For years, Trump's allies have proselytized the existence of a hidden Epstein client list, a collection of documents or black book that would unmask a pedophilia ring made up of specifically Democratic elites. During the 2024 election cycle, many of these people made some pretty bold claims, baiting a wide swath of voters that if they were put into power, the Epstein files would be laid bare for the American people.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book?
FBI.
But who? That is I mean,
No,
there's
that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. On day one, roll out the Black Book.
Okay.
Okay, wow.
So, in that clip from last year, according to Kash Patel, the director of the FBI has the power to crack this wide open.
That's a very powerful lady.
Boy, I wonder who's the director of the FBI now. They should get on that. Then, of course, there's Dan Bongino, a former Secret Service agent turned midlife crisis podcaster who repeatedly harped on the Epstein cover-up on his show.
It's pretty clear right now that Epstein, whether he was a cutout, whether he was a voluntary, witting, or unwitting partner in an intelligence
Control
gathering
the remote
operation,
psychically.
it appears a lot of people want to make this story go away.
Wow. 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 Wow, these guys are hardcore truth heads, huh?
So
Someone
true.
should put them in charge. Oh, right, that's what happened. In case you're not, like, into politics, those clips are of the current director of the FBI and deputy director of the FBI. They are now in charge of the agency that they've spent years degrading and baselessly accusing of being a deep state cabal. So, now that they've taken control, let's hear it. Let's crack the Epstein case wide open, fellas. What do you got for us?
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Incredible. Thanks. Congratulations, guys. You went from Agent Mulder to Cancer Man pretty darn fast. I mean, technically Bungee.
Is Detective Conan in there?
But most people checked out in the later seasons, so it's okay. Anyway, boo! Boo to you both! See, whether or not you believe Epstein killed himself or was assassinated, either answer means that these two were lying, right? Either they were grifting this conspiracy theory that wasn't true, or they are now lying about it. They shouted about how there's this shadowy club we're not invited to, and swore that if they were let inside, they would take it all down. And here they are, inside that club, insisting that it's now totally great and fine in there, actually. Thanks, though. We're gonna shut the door now. Again, it's fascinating. Trump is a very guilty man who is in the Epstein files and was longtime friends with Epstein and wrote him a little pedophilia birthday card and has a history of alleged rape and harassment of women, many of them underage. Go watch our episode about it.
True.
That's obviously the main story here. But I can't stop peeking over at these sad sacks he put in power. They know they sold out, but keep trying to pretend they didn't. Remember when Pam Bondi attempted to sweeten the Epstein conspiracy pot earlier this year with an orchestrated Epstein file release party? You know how a serious issue like this needs pageantry from a bunch of slack-jawed dipshits? Then everyone realized that those folders held up by said dipshits didn't reveal any new information on the case. How long did they expect to keep tap dancing like that without tripping over all those dangling jaws? At what point do you think Kash Patel and Dan Bongino realized that they were duped like everyone else? I mean, assuming they were duped in the first place, did they enjoy hearing their president say this about Epstein conspiracy theorists?
Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given.
Trump then went on Truth Social and called his supporters a bunch of dummies for falling for the Epstein conspiracy in the first place. You know, dummies
hanging
like
on
Patel
by a
and Bongino,
dream.
right? I guess it could all be a grift, but man, Bongino has dedicated a lot of airtime piecing together the Epstein conspiracy. Here's a clip from just 2 weeks before he was tapped to take over as deputy director.
The Ghislaine Maxwell Black Book. What names are in there, man? You understand how many powerful people probably want this thing to desperately go away? How many people were interconnected with this Epstein sex ring operation? I'm not ever going to let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I talked about it yesterday. You can go check it out. I'm not letting it go ever. Ever.
Hey, Dan, when are you not letting it go? Say that again? Oof. What choice does Bongino have now? If it was a grift, then how does he continue it? If he's being earnest, then what? I mean, he'll probably just quietly move on because these people ultimately don't care about or believe in anything other than telling our extremely nude emperor what a fine and fancy suit he's wearing. But maybe one of these guys might crack. I mean, Bongino seems to genuinely hate his job.
But you know, I was at one of our facilities yesterday down in Winchester, and a woman who worked there, very nice, said, you know, I used to watch your show. I miss you. I said, you know, I miss me too.
So, you know, part of you, part of you dies a little bit when you see all this stuff from behind the scenes.
Yeah, man, maybe you should quit.
Jesus.
What did you think it was gonna be like?
Damn, dude, holy
Podcasting?
shit.
Epstein stuff aside, it really seems like a lot of these grifters get by on that Monday morning quarterback mentality. This includes Trump, of course. There was this wave of far-right media personalities who rallied against the deep state and genuinely expected it to be some kind of exciting spy movie behind the scenes. But it's super not. It's kind of why we used to put people with experience in charge, as opposed to the people the president watched on TV, you know? Because what these dips are now realizing is that these are actual jobs. They are full-time jobs. They are careers. That's actually what the deep state is. People with careers in the government. Are some of them bad? Probably, but a lot of them were just good and honest too. Just serious people doing boring jobs, paperwork, press conferences, meetings. I mean, sure, you get to shoot an extraterrestrial biological entity now and then, but mostly you're just going to HR seminars. And what's more, everyone hates you. Suddenly, you're on the wrong side of the news, aren't you? The podcasters and pundits you used to call friends are now the ones calling you the deep state. You're not the star anymore. No one is getting you a Diet Coke or paying off the aide that you harassed, at least unless you're Trump. But for people like Bongino, who used to call the shots, who used to be the cool podcaster outside of the system, he's just Trump's little cover-up guy now. A lie shoveler working in a boring office. That has gotta burn, Gino. He should probably quit. He should probably release all the Epstein files without Trump's name redacted and quit. And give me all his money. He's gotta be rich, right? What with all that podcasting money? And hey, speaking of podcasting money, it's time for more ads. Ads, then more news, then darkness. Sweet, peaceful darkness.
Oh, good.
Okay, we are back and we're beefy, yet svelte and young, but with wisdom, and we're never going to die, not even once.
True.
So we've been talking about what happens when the conspiracy grifters of the world somehow manage to take control of our government and realize that they are now the target of the conspiracy grifters. Not so fun anymore, and I do believe it looks a little like this.
My biggest concern is the stratospheric aerosol injections that are continuously peppered on us every day.
What?
Bromium, aluminum, strontium, it's sprayed in our skies all day long.
I need a break for a second. I'll be right back. A bio break real quick. Time more gun. I found Morgana again. No, you have to hold on for just 1 second. Okay, that was 1 second, I guess. She's too wiggly. I can't hold her.
And I know you've talked to Dane Wigington about this. He seems to be one of the experts in the field.
Is there a question?
Yes. How do we stop it?
That is not happening in my agency. You know, we don't do that. It's done, we think, by DARPA. And a lot of it now is coming out of the jet
Finger
fuel.
pointing.
So,
Finger pointing.
you know,
We
those
can't. Oh, we
materials are
can't
put in
do
jet
it. How?
fuel.
Whoa, we can't do it.
I'm going to do everything in my power to stop it. We're bringing on somebody who's going to think only about that, find out who's doing it, and holding them accountable.
Oh.
Where's the DARPA chief?
Oh no. That's our Secretary for the Department of Health and Human Services, implying that chemtrails do exist and they are poisoning us, but it's not his fault, you see. It's the other government, I guess. He'll look into it or something. There's a bit of a short circuit happening when it comes to the Trump administration and chemtrails. His people, such as
Second floor
RFK,
basement.
love pumping people
Metal
up about
Gear.
it. And yet, the EPA recently published a webpage that gives us a clear picture
I have
on
to
what
talk
are
to the
actually known
DARPA
as
chief.
contrails, which are just trails of white vapor and particles of aircraft exhaust.
Psycho
This is
mantis.
especially interesting considering RFK in that clip says a lot of it now is from jet fuel. Because, yeah, exactly. It's the atmosphere interacting with
Did you
exhaust
like
from jet
my
fuel. But he can't correct her
sunglasses?
fully and say chemtrails aren't a thing. What you're thinking of is contrails from jet fuel. The government isn't purposefully injecting your lungs with aluminum, ma'am. Next question. Granted, jet engine exhaust can, of course, have some serious health effects, especially for those working at or living close to airports. It's pollution. It's bad for us and the planet. But that's not what these people care about. These aren't environmentalists.
Right.
They're crackpots. Conspiracy theorists have blamed contrails for things like creating the devastating floods in Texas, mass sterilization, and even mind control. They love them. Chemtrails are Bigfoot farts to them, the magic spice that makes the world go round. And what's ironic is that there actually is stuff in our air that's hurting us. An actual conspiracy involving chemicals pumped into our environment that people spent years covering up. But of course, they don't actually care about that. We do, though.
We do.
The actual EPA cover-up.
He thought the brainworm was the Baldur's Gate kind, but instead of getting magic powers, he's just turning into a mind flayer.
We talked about this a lot in our Epstein video. Check it out, it's about how our president's a pedophile. And in it, we discuss how conspiracy theorists are some of the most naive and gullible people in the world. Chemtrails is a great example of this, because while RFK is feeding the idea that DARPA is putting secret juice in the sky, he's been totally quiet about the actual cover-up happening in plain sight. Probably because he's a part of the administration that's doing it.
For the first time in nearly 3 decades, the Environmental Protection Agency has not published a mandatory annual report detailing the amount of climate pollution produced in the U.S.
See, you'd think that if they actually cared about what's in our air, they would be mad about this, right? If you care about chemtrails, that's presumably because you care if we're being poisoned. So why wouldn't you care about this too? Back in January, the EPA scrubbed any mention of climate change from its websites. You know, the thing that's actually harming Americans. Back in just last week, the administration asked NASA to intentionally destroy 2 satellites that gather climate data that scientists and farmers rely on.
What the
After
fuck?
Supreme Court
Really?
okayed Trump's
Oh my
order to
god.
mass fire federal workers, the EPA announced that they will be eliminating its research and development office. The agency is looking to cut at least 23% of its staff, or 3,700 employees. That's on top of the nearly 4,000 workers who have left or been fired since Trump took office. I can't stress enough how big a role the Office of Research and Development, or ORD, plays into making sure that public and private institutions aren't poisoning us on a daily basis. The research done by the ORD underpins the EPA's restrictions on contaminants in the air, water, and, you guessed it, soil. They're the reason we passed a landmark ruling that placed strict limits on forever chemicals in our drinking water. More on that in a bit. Another key part to the ORD is that they were independent from the rest of the EPA. meaning that they could perform research and come to conclusions without the biases or expectations of political stakeholders. That will no longer be the case, as some of the ORD staff will be absorbed into the office of EPA Chief Lee Zeldin. Zeldin is a climate denier and former New York congressman with zero experience in environmental regulation. He is a big Trump fan, though. He's been into Trump from the start, because again, it's all just people the president likes now. And Zeldin just announced that the EPA intends to repeal its endangerment finding, a determination made in 2009 that greenhouse gas emissions are harmful to humans and the environment. This is going to take a minute, but it's important to hear how Zeldin explains this decision.
So this has been referred to as basically driving a dagger into the heart of the climate change religion. Like there are people who care. I mean, most Americans, we care about the environment. We want clean air, land, and water. Conservatives love the environment, want to be good stewards of the environment. There are people who then, in the name of climate change, are willing to bankrupt the country.
Yep.
In the name of environmental justice, they will get tens of billions of dollars appropriated to their friends rather than actually remediating environmental issues. So they created this endangerment finding, and then they were able to put all these regulations on vehicles, on airplanes, on stationary sources to basically regulate out of existence, in many cases, a lot of forms of segments of our economy. And it costs Americans a lot of money.
No, that's not the Nelk boys he's talking to. I checked. That is the EPA chief, though, and I need to remind you of that. Because he doesn't fucking sound like he's in charge of the EPA, does he? He spends like 10 seconds being like, well, yeah, of course we love the environment, and then goes off about how scary regulations are for the economy. The fuck does he care about the economy? Isn't his job to make sure the air and water and dirt are clean, to protect the environment?
The Obama administration said
Yeah,
that carbon dioxide, when mixed with a bunch of other well-mixed gases, the greenhouse gases, that it contributes to climate change. How much, they don't say. It's more than zero. And they say that
More than
climate
zero.
change
That's your
endangers
office, dude. You're
human
supposed to
health.
know that.
So because of these different mental leaps, and by the way, when it's carbon dioxide mixed with all these well-mixed gases, they were only looking at mobile sources like vehicles.
How
But
would
a
they
bunch
know?
of
It's
those
just they
greenhouse
just
gases
scan
aren't
the
even
fucking
emitted
atmosphere. That's just
from
lies.
vehicles.
They say that climate change endangers our health.
They is
Admitted
you,
EPA.
dude.
Why does he look and sound like a featured extra in The Hangover? You'll notice that the only mental
He's
leaps
giggling. He
present
realized
are his.
the giggle is him realizing how stupid his entire life is, and just like how deep he is in the shit.
He scoffs at the endangerment finding and brags about getting rid of it and derides the idea that greenhouse gases contribute to climate change. So the mental leap he's making is that actually they don't. He derides the idea that climate change is harmful to our health. So the mental leap he's making is that it's not.
Whoa.
He's not even really saying outright that the endangerment finding was hurting the environment or misguided in some way. He's just mad that Obama put a bunch of regulations up and accuses the climate change religion of wanting to destroy the economy or something. He's in this limbo where he needs to pretend that he cares about the environment while getting rid of protections for it. And he needs to heavily imply that climate change isn't real and that greenhouse gases have nothing to do with it. But he also, for whatever reason, can't just say that. Possibly because that would just be too many lies. Some lies are okay. Too many lies.
Too many
You
lies.
can't do that.
Yeah, no, not
Zeldin
allowed.
is essentially making the argument that the EPA has no legal right to regulate greenhouse gas emissions, thus making the EPA powerless in monitoring or putting guardrails on pollution coming from things like cars, trucks, fracking, and power plants. Eliminating the 2009 finding would also make it a lot harder for future administrations to regulate emissions and fight climate change. And whatever's left of the Office of Research and Development will be straddled under Zeldin's political campaign to disband federal regulation on climate and public health. Because he doesn't care about the environment. He's not proposing new regulations to replace the old one. He's not excited or worked up about some new measure to protect our land.
Yeah.
But rather, how much he's helping corporations make money. Listen to him.
What's the significance? How big is the endangerment finding? Well, repealing it will be the largest deregulatory action in the history of America.
Huge.
Oh, yeah, it is kind of a big deal, isn't it? This isn't about protecting the environment. It's about having a victory for their ideology of blind deregulation. It's just a sacrifice they're happy to make to their stupid Doge god. This is like a crime against humanity. Back in January, the American Chemistry Council wrote a letter to Zeldin requesting that the EPA cease to regulate their industries based on any research and findings from the ORD. That's because the ORD performs rigorous and independent research